Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from Group 3. Before we start deliver our material about the technique of news anchor, let us introduce ourselves. The first speaker is Faradiwa Jihan H, and then Poppi Aprilianti S.P, and then Maulia Dinanti Haya, Helfi Diani Rosa, and then Ninda Maulidina, and the last speaker is me, Angrum Bunga Listy. So let's be started.
Thank you, Angrum Bunga Listy. Here I'm Faradiwa Jihan as the first speaker. Will tell you about the quality sounds and body language. The first is quality sounds. Voice is your ambassador for the word. Voice reflects our personality and emotions. People's judgment of us is influenced by our voice, said Norman Hakigan, researcher from the University of Michigan's health system. So, for that statement, we can know that voice is really important. Sounds is really important for the first impression to the audience that we can do. And then for that, there are 4 steps that we can follow to optimize the sound quality. The first is warm up voice before you want to be in the anchor. For example, you can take a deep breath and then do a tongue twister. And then the second, speak confidently and clearly. And then the third, vary the speech rate and use pauses. Don't speak too fast and then don't speak slowly. And then the last tips, vary the high, loud pitch and loud weak sound. Okay, next slide is about body language. Reading news text not only discuss how readers read news, but also we have to be know about attitudes, gesture, a good posture, and then eyes gazed. Okay, news readers should sit up straight. Okay, straight and look ahead. Look ahead, and sometimes looking down is allowed. Okay, looking down is allowed to see the text, but it shouldn't be too long, about just around 3 minutes. I'm sorry, 3 seconds. And then the next is good posture. Okay, we have to be a good posture. The technique of reading the news will can down by maintaining a straight body posture so that we can look professional. And then the last is eye gaze. So rolling eyes, for example, something like that, glancing or other eyes movement such as confusion while reading the news can be indicate an element of distress. Okay, make sure your eyes are straight on the audience. Make sure you are straight on the audience and focused. I think that's all for me. The next presentation will be delivered by Poppi.
Okay, thank you Faradiwa, and I will explain about the volume and appearance. Today is volume. Volume is the level of strength and loudness of the sound of the pronouncing a word. The volume of the sound also needs to be considered. The loudness of the voice and the softness of the voice are measure of the news readers. Make sure the voice is too loud or not too low. The volume of the voice that is around is important to know what we hear can be heard clearly, including intonation and also the articulation in it. The volume of the voice is in reading the news text must be regulated properly so that it can be heard clearly, and news text readers must also pay attention to other supporting factors in reading news text. Okay, the next is appearance. The appearance that must be considered is using clothes that are neat, polite, and attractive, not using excessive accessories and for makeup not too much. The important thing is that the face look fresh and the costume for for men usual use a sweat shirt and tie, and for women you can use a blazer and shirt to make it look formal and neat. Hair neatly arranged for men it is not long, and for women you can use a hijab or neatly style and make up neatly, though not to be much. The important thing is to look fresh. And thank you. And the next presentation will be delivered by Dinanti.
I'm Maulia Dinanti Haya. I will continue. Next is intonation or rhythm. Intonation is the rise and fall of the song sentence. Intonation is useful for forming the meaning of sentence in presenting the news. We must use the appropriate intonation with the news that we bring. Also, intonation when reading news text requires accuracy in every word and sentence. Not only that, readers must also be able to adjust the volume, choose with words or sentence are voiced with emphasis, loud, weak, or soft. Alright, next is tempo. Tempo is slow and fast reading of news. Tempo affect to the listener interest in listening to the news. And tempo that is too slow will make listener easily bored, while the tempo that is too fast will make the reader not get the maximum information. Briefly, the tempo in reading is the speed at which the words are conveyed to the information in the delivery of the news that we bring. Okay, next slide will be delivered by Helfi.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Helfi Diani Rosa, and I'm going to explain about accentuation and articulation. The first is accentuation. Accentuation is the emphasis on a word or phrase. Accentuation is used for a word or phrase that is a key or important part of information. So with accentuation, the listeners can easily know and understand the important point or the important thing in the news. There are ways that we can use for accentuation, such as slow down the way we speak a word or phrase that we accentuate and raise the tone. And the second is articulation. Articulation is referred to as clarity in the pronunciations of words. In reading the news presenters need to pronounce the word clearly so the listeners can understand. Articulation is also related to the tempo of the reading speed. Therefore, news presenters need to be able to adjust the tempo of the reading speed so that there are no articulation errors. So that's all for me. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, here I'm Ninda Maulidina will explain about pause. Pause in news script. Pausing is an activity to stop for a moment to catch your breath while reading news text. The activity of pausing cannot be done in any place or part of the sentence. There are certain parts of the sentence that can be paused. A news text is read out is a different text from the news text in print media. The text of the news that is read is usually marked with pause. Pause itself is a temporary stop that is done by readers of news text to catch their breath. This pause aims to make it easier for news readers to present their news. The reading pauses given each section must be precise so as not to cause misunderstanding in the minds of the listeners. So here I have paused alerts in news text. In reading the news text, there are some signs of pause to be aware of. The signs of this delay include in the following. First, a slash, which means the same as a comma. That is pause or short pause. Okay, the second is a double slash, which means the same as a dot. That is a long pause. And the next or the last is the equal sign. It means it continues on the next line. So here I have the example of the news text or the news script. So please take a look for the following example. The title is High Rainfall. Good afternoon, viewers. Based on BMKG monitoring, rain in the Jakarta area will continue to flow for the next 1 week. Jakarta residents are expected to remain alert to the possibility of a new flyover in the eastern area of Jakarta, worried with the high rainfall. Most of them are worried about the coming of the say that they are very worried about the high rainfall. Most are worried about the coming flood disaster on Seda. Here's the coverage more. So for the example, it can be concluded that first, giving pause is one technique that can help and make it easier to read news text or news script. And pausing must be done in the right part so as not to change the meaning of the sentence in the news text. Okay, take a look for the next slide. Its 10th point is about fluency. Fluency in reading news is something that must be considered in bringing news. Reading news is not the same as normal reading. We must understand what type of news will be conveyed, and the news text is informative, so it cannot use the wrong sentence, as previously stated by my friends regarding pronunciation, intonation, tempo, volume, etc. These are all keys to smoothly conveying a news. To be able to increase fluency in bringing news, we need to understand the content of the news or types or kinds of news and practice slowly from easier to more difficult. All of that needs a process. It's impossible for us to be able to instantly deliver a news smoothly, right? It takes a lot of practice and trying to convey the news well. Thank you, maybe enough for me, and for the next point will be delivered by Angrum Bunga Listy. Time is yours.
The last point of the technique being a news anchor is about the mental. Mentally strong in bringing the news is needed. With a strong mentality, we can be calm and relaxed and can give our best in bringing news to the audience. For overcome the nervousness, by taking a deep breath and you can moving your body and then you can standing up straight like shoulder merging with your shoulder and the chest strong. Then the last point is you can smiling. Beside that, some of this technique can work well for allaying the fear of breaking the news in the public and in the front of the audience. Some techniques you can try to calm yourself down are first, you can put your tongue to the roof of your mouth, which is an ancient yoga trick to relieve tension in the face and in the jaw. The second, you can place your hands above your heads so that all the blood flows to your arms and the legs. And in addition, touching the forehead area is also believed to return the blood to the brain. And the last is smile. With smiling to activate the neurotransmitters that are key to presentation and to bring the news in the front of the audience. Those are techniques to being a news anchor. That's all from our group. Thank you for your kindly attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.